The big story tonight, and I fear it's going to be the big story for some time to come, is the inferno engulfing Los Angeles. Now, what you see here on your screen is drone footage taken by LA local Anthony Cabasa of what remains of Altadena, California, a residential neighborhood that now looks like a war zone. And it's not just Altadena. At least 3 separate wildfires whipped up by the city's notorious Santa Ana winds have marched through suburb after suburb, torching at least 1,000 homes, killing at least 5, and toting up a damages bill that could wind up being as big as the one that came from Hurricane Katrina. And there's a very specific reason why I bring up Hurricane Katrina, aside from the obvious parallels to American cities laid low by natural disaster. Because as in New Orleans 2 decades ago, when local officials in Louisiana did not maintain flood levees and left the city unprepared for the storm and subsequent surge of water through the city, Los Angeles has been badly let down by its own government at every single level. Incompetence, progressive politics, DEI cultism, and environmental insanity have all conspired to leave the city exposed to what are, as in Australia, regularly occurring fires that, under ordinary circumstances, can be predicted, prepared for, prevented, or at least mitigated. But when you look more closely at what is actually going on the ground in LA right now, it looks a lot less like climate change, which is what some people are blaming it on, and a lot more like what happens when you combine Democrat mismanagement with misplaced environmentalism and stir it up with a heady mix of DEI-inspired incompetence. Now, let's be clear. What is happening in LA right now is a real tragedy. Lives have been lost as well as innumerable homes. But radical leftist policies have been in force in California for decades, and that has left Los Angeles dangerously exposed. Let's start with the local city government in LA, shall we? Now, the Democrat mayor of LA, Karen Bass, she is a real piece of work. Let me tell you, who actually cut $17 million from the budget of the Los Angeles Fire Department months before this week's inferno. I don't know, maybe these extra funds could have come in handy somewhere along the lines. When the fires broke out, she was on holiday in Africa, in Ghana to be precise, and several days after the disaster began, she made her way back home, finally. Here she is being bailed up at the airport a little over 12 hours ago by a Sky News UK journalist who wanted to know what Bass had to say for herself.
Madam Mayor, David Blevins from Sky News in the UK.
I'm not going to
Fire chiefs say that they're really stretched to the limit and running out of water. What have you got to say to that?
Me, okay?
Have you no response to that? Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up? Appreciate it.
Nothing to say, indeed. I have never seen a disgraceful performance by an elected official like that. And apparently, well, she just scarpered after that line of questioning. Then a few hours ago, Bass did front the press, and she gave this very helpful advice to Los Angelenos at a press conference.
Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles, together is how we will get through this.
Can be found at URL? What is she talking about? If this was Joe Biden, it'd almost be funny. But the thing is, there are real lives, real homes at stake here.